We are kicking off with Smackdown, and after reappearing at WWE Bad Blood to make the save for Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns, Jey USO opened up the show to a thunderous ovation. Jimmy genuinely seemed happy to be back, but was all business as he spoke of what the Bloodline did to him earlier this year, and spoke of being Solo Sikoa's older brother. As the older brother, Jimmy said he'd do what he's done his entire life, and that's kick Solo's... But before he could say the final word, Roman Reigns arrived to kick off an OG Bloodline reunion storyline. Despite all that's gone on, Reigns still showed some heel tendencies, including demanding the mic from his cousin, but made sure to thank Uso along the way. At times, this segment felt unscripted, and that Jimmy had no idea that Roman was going to get the crowd to acknowledge him or give him his new nickname, Big Jim. There were some looks and reactions between the two that made it seem like they were trying to get each other to crack up, such as Jimmy sticking his hand out that seemed unscripted. Jimmy teased the return of somebody he felt could aid their fight against the new Bloodline, and it was clear that he was teasing reuniting with his brother Jey. The pair have been apart for a year and 4 months, but despite the fans being excited, Roman Reigns said no yeet in rejection of the idea. Jimmy pressed the OTC about how they need as much help as they can get in this Bloodline civil war, and the segment ended with Uso walking out, leaving Reigns speechless in the ring. It's clear that the following segments on SmackDown will see Jimmy try to convince Reigns to recruit Jey, leading to the much-anticipated Bloodline vs. Bloodline War Games at Survivor Series. Interestingly, neither man mentioned The Rock's return at Bad Blood, which happened shortly after Uso's own return, and any specifics about The Rock's on-screen future remain unclear. Are you expecting The Rock to get involved, and is this leading to the new and old Bloodlines doing battle at Survivor Series War Games? Let us know in the comments. Backstage, Cody Rhodes thanked Jey USO for his help at Bad Blood, but Jimmy said it was a one-off favor and that the American Nightmare shouldn't expect any more help going forward. Rhodes told Jimmy that the Solo Sikoa he's trying to take on isn't the same man as before, and after speaking of family business, Jimmy gave his flowers to the WWE champion, stating, "From the looks of it, you're handling business on your own. Respect." Jimmy and Rhodes may not be friends, but Uso can acknowledge Rhodes' successful title reign, even if his loyalties remain with the man who Rhodes dethroned at WrestleMania 40. In a brother versus brother match, Solo Sikoa stared at Jey USO as Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and Jacob Fatu circled the ring, and while Jimmy took the first shot, Solo quickly took control. Solo distracted the official so his allies could interfere before talking down to his older brother, saying he's not the little brother of the family anymore. This bout was fine, but it was more about storytelling than excitement, and it's clear that the crowd was having trouble finding reasons to cheer at points. Solo got the win, and the Bloodline jumped Jimmy after the match before Reigns made the save and wiped out everyone but Solo with Superman punches. Despite this, the numbers game caught up to Reigns, who was taken out with a Samoan spike, with the new Bloodline once again standing tall to end the segment. This was quite the return for Jey USO to the ring, but it was certainly a unique choice to have him lose his first match back in over 6 months, just 1 week after his return. While Reigns didn't want to recruit Jey, the Intercontinental Champion was at this week's SmackDown and was in action after the show went off the air. When Braun Breaker called out Jey, this led to a match between the two that saw Uso retain the Intercontinental title. Jey's reaction was quite crazy as, because he'd been backstage, he likely witnessed his brother and cousin get beat down, but came out for his match as if nothing had happened. Of course, in storyline, Jey was not at this week's SmackDown, though the comments on the show do make it seem like the ball could be rolling for him to re-enter the fold. If he does, he could prove to be a vital ally alongside his brother and cousin to face the new Bloodline at Survivor Series War Games on November 30th. This is, of course, speculation for now, but what isn't speculation is the fact that Jey USO is desperate to get help on his side, even though Jey has his own matters to deal with on Raw. The feud between Jey and Breaker is far from over, and despite showing respect the week before, Breaker speared Jey on Raw this week, making clear they have unfinished business. In the meantime, Jimmy will also try and win Jey over to his side, though it remains to be seen how successful that'll be, given the past issues between the two brothers. After Braun Breaker lost the Intercontinental Championship to Jey USO, many fans speculated that Breaker was heading for a babyface run, especially after the two shook hands last week. Breaker therefore shocked everyone this week when he attacked Jey, setting up a rematch, but fans should not expect to see the pair do battle at a PLE. Brian Alvarez of the Wrestling Observer newsletter reports that their match will not come at Crown Jewel as some expected, but rather during an episode of Raw. He adds that while Crown Jewel is shaping up to be a major event, WWE is pushing Seth Rollins vs. Bronson Reed and Jey Uso vs. Braun Breaker for future dates. Ibu of WrestlePurists confirmed that the Breakker-Jey rematch will headline Raw, saying it'll come in a few weeks rather than take place at Crown Jewel. This shift allows WWE to focus its build towards Survivor Series War Games, where it's rumored that Jey will end up on Roman Reigns' team. Fans will have to wait a little longer to see the rematch between Breakker and Uso, but with Survivor Series drawing near, it's clear that tensions with the Bloodline will continue to escalate. What do you think of this match not taking place at WWE Crown Jewel? Do you think that's the right call? Please share your thoughts and feedback in the comments section below. At Bad Blood, the finish to the Liv Morgan vs. Rhea Ripley match caught fans off guard as the interference of the returning Raquel Rodriguez led to a disqualification. It was later confirmed that this was not the planned finish, but everything was changed on the spot, and we now know more about what WWE originally had in mind. In the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Brian Alvarez revealed that Liv was always going to retain thanks to Raquel, but that it wasn't supposed to end in a DQ. Rodriguez was meant to chokeslam Ripley behind the ref's back before throwing Morgan on top of Rhea for the pin, which did technically happen after the match had already ended. With the match over, this spot became a sign of dominance from Rodriguez, who has since aligned herself with the Judgment Day, but why did the plan at Bad Blood change? Well, the main problem was that Rodriguez interfered in front of the referee, putting the official in a position where he had to throw the match out or risk looking absolutely ridiculous. Alvarez added that the crowd in the State Farm Arena hated the finish, which was expected because a DQ finish on a premium live event shouldn't really happen. Despite this non-finish, Ripley will have to be patient before she gets another shot, as Morgan, as the Women's World Champion, will face Women's Champion Nia Jax at Crown Jewel. This match will determine the first ever Women's Crown Jewel Champion, but do you think a DQ finish at a PLE is ever justified? Let us know down in the comments. Now, Kevin Owens was banned from the arena for this week's Smackdown following his altercation with Cody Rhodes at Bad Blood, but that ban didn't stop the prizefighter. Owens interrupted the show after the entrance of NXT's Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend, who were set to challenge Women's Tag Team Champions Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. On the mic, Owens admitted he wasn't supposed to be there, but said that Rhodes turned on him as the champion teamed with Roman Reigns to face Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. After his mic was cut off, Owens grabbed a commentary headset to continue his rant as producers and security ran out, as did Cody Rhodes. Security had to hold both men back before things turned physical, and Randy Orton tried to calm the American Nightmare and Kevin Owens in the ring. Owens seemingly accidentally hit Orton in the face while struggling against security, which caused Orton to punch him back in retaliation, though he seemed to regret the right hand. Backstage, Orton told Rhodes to get on his tour bus and go home, adding that he'll be the one to calm down Owens and promised the champion that he could fix this. General Manager Nick Aldis was also backstage and told Rhodes he needed him healthy to take on World Heavyweight Champion Gunther for their Crown Jewel title match in Saudi Arabia. Later in the night, Owens was caught beating down Randy Orton in the parking lot, asking him if he was going to pick sides, and Aldis got security to take Kevin away and called for doctors for Orton. According to PW Torch, WWE had initially filmed more of this fight between the two, but for some reason decided not to show the majority, with the segment seeing Orton already down. Clearly, these issues aren't going to be fixed anytime soon, and do you expect to see Orton vs. Owens at Crown Jewel? Sound off in the comments below. Cody Rhodes wasn't just on this week's SmackDown, but he was also in action after the show went off the air against a familiar foe in Dominic Mysterio. In the dark match, Rhodes defeated Dirty Dom in his 17th victory over Mysterio since Money in the Bank 2023, if you count TV, off-air matches, and live events. As we mentioned, the women's tag titles were set to be defended before Kevin Owens' interruption after Metaphor rubbed the champs the wrong way during this week's NXT. Trick Williams was shown at ringside watching this match as he is dating Lash Legend, and the two teams brought the action as Chelsea Green and Piper Niven also watched on. It didn't take much for these two to get involved, and when Legend kicked Green over the announce table, Michael Cole tried to act as if she still smelled like a dumpster. After a bit of chaos, Cargill and Belair nailed their double team finisher to retain the gold, but many fans took to Twitter to express how upset they were over the short match at just 2 minutes long. Fans wanted to see these four women get a real chance to perform, and this backlash comes after criticism of the 10-woman tag team match on Raw lacking a clear direction. Although this was a fast match, it was still a good showing for Jackson and Legend, who were able to show their worth on a much larger stage than they're used to. Nevertheless, this match was far too short for many, and we can only hope that the Metaphor members get more time should they be brought back to the Blue brand. But what did you make of this match and its 2-minute runtime? Let us know in the comments section below. Now, Paul Heyman hasn't appeared on WWE TV since being attacked by the Bloodline in June, but a new report from WRKD Wrestling states he could be back soon. On Twitter, WRKD shared a photo of Heyman, Roman Reigns, and Jey USO, and with Jimmy now back on TV, the wise man's comeback may not be far behind. During the Attitude Era and Ruthless Aggression Era, blading was a common practice on WWE TV, but that all changed once WWE shifted to PG in 2008. One of the major changes made after the move was a ban on blading, with heavy fines for those who broke this rule, such as Batista, who was fined $100,000 for blading on Raw's 800th episode. During the Hell in a Cell match at Bad Blood, though, both CM Punk and Drew McIntyre were left covered in blood, with McIntyre's injury being accidental when he was hit with a toolbox. Punk, on the other hand, had a more planned cut, but despite being busted open, he'd go on to win the match against the Scottish Warrior. According to Brian Alvarez in the Wrestling Observer newsletter, blading is allowed now, but only for important matches and storylines, and is only to be used in special cases. With Vince McMahon no longer in charge, WWE is allowing blood for key matches, but wants to avoid overdoing it as much as possible. WWE reportedly didn't plan on McIntyre bleeding in the match, despite CM Punk hinting that this would happen on TV, and it's noted that there was some panic backstage and at ringside. These concerns were over how much McIntyre was bleeding and how bad the injury was, and WWE considered bringing in a doctor to stop the bleeding inside the cage. They ultimately decided against this, feeling that having a doctor come in to ensure a wrestler wasn't hurt too badly wouldn't have been a good look for a Hell in a Cell match. They wanted to clean the blood off McIntyre with a towel, but McIntyre stayed in control and said he would signal if he felt dizzy, and then they would quickly end the match. Since McIntyre didn't show any sign of a concussion, they were able to finish the match as planned, in a testament to the toughness and the in-ring smarts of the Scottish superstar. Do you believe WWE lifting the ban on bleeding under special circumstances is a step in the right direction? Share your thoughts and feedback in the comments section below. During Smackdown, a third vignette aired teasing the highly anticipated debut of the Motor City Machine Guns, with a vignette ending with the words, "Next week." Fans will get to see Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley within a matter of days, and following this vignette, Nick Aldis confirmed the arrival of a new tag team during a backstage segment. The Guns are expected to shake up WWE's tag team division, with fans eager to see how Shelley and Sabin translate their high-octane ring work to a new environment. The pair became free agents after finishing with TNA in late March, and while it was reported that there had been talks with AEW, they received a great offer from WWE. The deal will not only allow them to be featured on WWE TV, but adds the potential opportunity to work as a coach or producer in retirement. In case this week's SmackDown wasn't enough, internal listings have the Guns scheduled to travel to New York this month, and the October 25th SmackDown will air from Brooklyn. It appears that after next week's SmackDown, fans will also get to see them on the show the week after, which will be the penultimate SmackDown before Crown Jewel. It's been confirmed that Sabin and Shelley will keep their MCMG branding, despite rumors of a new team name, and it was previously reported that there was talk of an upgrade to their presentation. As always, plans can change, but fans can expect a thrilling debut for one of the most decorated tag teams of all time next week on SmackDown. Are you excited to see Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin debut in WWE? Please share your thoughts and any feedback in the comments section below. Since aligning a few months ago, Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton have been an unlikely duo, with Jax now calling the shots regarding Stratton's future. Jax aligned with Tiffany shortly after Stratton won Money in the Bank, which kept Stratton under control and kept Tiffany from cashing in during Jax's pursuit of the women's title. After Jax won the title, Stratton has been instrumental in helping her retain, but there has been times when she has teased cashing in the briefcase on Nia herself. On the latest episode of SmackDown, Jax addressed her match with Liv Morgan at Crown Jewel and was as confident as ever that she'll defeat her Raw counterpart. It was here that Jax revealed her plan, saying that Stratton will cash in on Liv after the match, an idea that seemed to catch Miss Money in the Bank off guard. The duo found themselves interrupted by Naomi, and after she and Jax agreed to a match, Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, and Dominic Mysterio arrived on SmackDown. Liv explained that their original intention was to take out Nia Jax, but they decided it would be more fun to watch from ringside and see Jax lose her match instead. The Judgment Day took their spots at ringside, adding drama to the Naomi-Nia match, which started with Jax dominating the Glow as Tiffany cheered her on. The pair battled through multiple commercial breaks, so they had plenty of time to get in their offense and look good, but after Raquel took Tiffany's briefcase, Morgan used it as a weapon. Liv struck Jax and Naomi took advantage to powerbomb Jax from the corner to score the win in a great showcase for Naomi, who now holds a non-title win over the women's champion. With that said, Morgan and the arrival of Rhea Ripley to attack everyone she could find overshadowed her win a bit, but adds a new element to Crown Jewel. With Stratton eyeing a cash-in, Liv possibly defending her title in Riyadh, and the presence of Rhea Ripley, the stakes are rising for Crown Jewel. The Judgment Day is clearly ready to play their role in the chaos, but how would you book the Crown Jewel title match and finish? Should a cash-in happen? Let us know in the comments. Smackdown saw the US title in action as LA Knight defended against Carmelo Hayes, with the challenger coming close on multiple occasions to winning the gold. The end, however, saw Knight retain his title while Andrade El Idolo mocked Hayes at ringside to rub salt in the wound, kicking off a brawl between the two fierce rivals. With their series of matches tied at 3-3, a rubber match will take place next week, and Nick Aldis essentially confirmed that the 7th match will be for a shot at the US title. More great in-ring action is never a bad thing, especially with some stakes attached to it, and this may lead to a triple threat for LA Knight's belt at Crown Jewel. How do you rate the booking of Hayes, Andrade, and Knight? Who do you want to see leave Riyadh with the gold if a triple threat match happens? Let us know who and why below. AJ Styles' injury was addressed on SmackDown as it was shared that he suffered a mid-foot ligament sprain last week during his match with Carmelo Hayes. There are some people who believe that this injury is a work, though reports online have called it a shoot, and if it was a work, Styles would have likely shown up during this week's US title match. Hopefully Styles can make a full and speedy recovery and be back soon, as suffering an injury in his first night back after a lengthy absence was a huge blow to the Phenomenal One. This year there has been speculation about the Lucha Bros joining WWE, but if it happens it won't be anytime soon, as Tony Khan has added injury time to Rey Fenix's contract. That will extend his stay with AEW by almost a year, and according to Ibu of WrestlePurists, Khan's decision was influenced after learning that WWE had plans for the Lucha Bros on SmackDown. Ibu added that while Khan likes and respects Fenix, he felt that if he let Rey leave without using up the injury time, it'd inspire other talent to start taking advantage of him. Ultimately, Khan is sending a message to his roster through the Lucha Bros, and although we could one day see Fenix and Penta on SmackDown, that isn't in the immediate future. Do you believe Tony Khan made the right decision as a businessman by adding injury time to Rey Fenix's contract? Please share your thoughts and feedback in the comments section below. Recently, WRKD Wrestling suggested potential plans for Big E's return, hinting that he would help reunite the New Day amid Xavier Woods' teased heel turn. While Big E getting clear and reuniting with Woods and Kofi would be a huge moment for the beloved group, it won't come just yet. Speaking to Sports Talk Philly, Big E acknowledged that any return to the ring is still months away, as he's waiting to undergo scans on his neck. He said, "Yeah, more than anything, I'm just taking every day as it comes. I know that sounds like a cliche, but I get scans again in another 3 to 6 months, and if they look great and the doctors say it's healthy for me to go back, then that's something where we'll sit down and talk about it, but I try not to spend too much time worrying about things I can't control." Big E emphasized that there's no immediate timeline for his return, but he remains focused on his health and taking time to heal before making any definitive decisions. "It's nice to know that if I get the opportunity to get back in the ring and I can do it healthily, then let's do that. Let's attack it fully. But if not, I know exactly what I want to do, and I'm excited about that path too." With that in mind, fans should temper their expectations on an immediate return, as Big E is wisely prioritizing his long-term health, making any potential return to wrestling still months away. In her weekly newsletter, Mercedes Mone took credit for Stephanie Vaquer signing with WWE, saying their match at Forbidden Door played a pivotal role. Mone shared that Vaquer arrived only an hour before the event, leaving them little time to plan, but despite a language barrier and both being jet-lagged and hungry, they had a great match. Vaquer responded to Mercedes Mone's comments on her Instagram story, sharing that before the match, she'd endured several grueling days of constant travel and sleeping on planes. This schedule was on top of weeks of non-stop work, and Vaquer also mentioned that she had gone many hours without eating, which didn't help matters. Despite these challenges, Vaquer was grateful to face a talented opponent like Mone, and after this positive experience, concluded that consistent hard work eventually pays off. Vaquer will make her NXT in-ring debut in a much-anticipated match with Ren Sinclair, but this match and her NXT run may never have happened if not for facing the CEO. And we're ending with Alexa Bliss, who was last seen in a WWE ring at the 2023 Royal Rumble, where she lost to Bianca Belair, and ever since, fans have speculated as to her next move in wrestling. On social media this week, Bliss confirmed that she will return to WWE, but gave no indication as to when that'll be, and asked fans to enjoy her current content. Bliss became pregnant shortly after her Royal Rumble appearance, and what would you like to see for her when she's back? Let us know your ideas in the comments.